So now let's go on to mistake number 9, which is including details that most of your readers probably don't need. During my security consulting days, I've written plenty of security assessment reports, and I was proud of the work that me and my colleagues were doing. We were discovering great vulnerabilities, we were exploiting them, we were getting in, and I always wanted to tell the full story. I wanted to show the client how amazing the journey was that led us to reach the assets that we were supposed to target, for example. And I wanted to show everything as part of the journey. But you know what? Your readers have limited time, limited attention. So just like I suggested earlier, to scrutinize every single word that you include in your sentences, let's broaden that statement and say that some details don't belong in your email or in your report. And so here's a quick example. Let me pause for a little bit to let you read this short paragraph. So what I wanted you to see here is that there's this connection table that is related to the story that the writer is trying to tell, but they probably don't matter to most of the readers. Most of the readers in this particular case might not even know how to interpret the output of this, what looks like NatStat tool. And so how would you revise this? Think about what your readers want. What your readers want is the information that answers the questions that they have. What they want is avoidance of any distractions. So you might take that statement that you saw on the previous slide, and my recommendation is move the additional output into the appendix. If you think that cutting it out completely is too strong, too drastic of a measure, move it into the appendix. And this way, if there are different types of readers, some of them will want to see all the details, they can find them in the appendix. So you refer to the appendix and then you supply the appendix. But it is important to not just include the appendix, but refer to it from the body of your text. Just like, as I mentioned earlier, it's important to refer to your figures or your graphics from the body of your text. Otherwise, the reader doesn't know in the context within which they should interpret the contents of your appendix. So focus your reader's attention, give them just the details that they need, and to do that, anticipate what questions your readers might have. It goes back to the underlying theme behind all of these mistakes, that for successful writing, you need to be able to empathize with your reader. So imagine that you are a reader of your own report. What questions will you have about the situation that you're documenting or about the proposal that you're making? These questions might be, first of all, what are the most important takeaways? Something that might be included in the executive summary. Also, the reader wants to know exactly what happened or what did you discover? And of course, they want to see the supporting details, but too many details will distract them, move them into the appendix. They also want to know, in many cases, how did you arrive at your conclusions? Simply giving your recommendation or providing your findings might not be sufficient, depending on perhaps your reputation or the context that the reader has from your previous conversations or communications. So you probably need to explain the methodology, but give the findings up front, explain what happened or what you discovered, and of course, justify your conclusions by explaining your methodology or your thought process. And to do this, the same elements that I already mentioned earlier will be very helpful. Structural elements like providing your summary, informing your readers with headings, using the right topic sentences. This is where your reader's attention is at its strongest, and this is what allows you to create a single report or a single even email that meets the needs of multiple audiences. By including different types of contents in different places within your writing, you allow the right audience to find the details that they need. And when in doubt, if you don't have the heart to cut out those details that you want to include just in case, that's what the appendix is for. Or in some cases, you can simply say, I can supply additional details if you need them in a separate document, or as a follow-up email, or as a separate download link to the follow-up information.